So today I'm going to talk about knock fit and show you exactly why it's important and how you can get the correct knock fit for your string and improve your tuning. Now, knock fit is important for a couple of reasons. The first being that you need to make sure that your arrow is safe on the string and you're not going to damage the knock and risk the knock exploding if the fit is too tight. And also you're not going to risk the arrow falling off the string during the shot and risk dry firing the bow. So the knock fit is really important for that, but it's also important for the tuning of the bow because it affects the tune quite a lot. And if you change your knock fit, you will need to retune your bow. And sometimes if your knock fit is incorrect, if it's way too tight or way too loose, then it can make tuning your bow very hard. So it's really important to get it right. And I'm going to show you how you can get it correct and tests that you can do to see if your knock fit is correct or not. Now, before we get started, I want to run a little poll and see how many of you are shooting biter nocks versus eastern nocks. So let me know in the comments whether you shoot biter or whether you shoot eastern nocks, and I'd be interested to see what the ratio is and who shoots which knock. So let me know in the comments below for that. Now, I'm going to go through a simple checklist of 5 checks that you can do to make sure that your knock fit is correct to fit on your string and your center serving, and it's not too loose or it's not too tight. Now, these 5 checks are, first of all, the sound, the rotation, the wiggle, the vertical spacing, and then finally the string tap test. So these 5 checks are going to allow you to make sure that your knock fit is safe and will let you tune your bow properly. So first of all is the sound of the knock on the string. So if I just get this bow here and then grab an arrow as well, what you want to make sure of is that when you put the knock on the string, the sound is punctual, but it's not too high pitched and you can definitely hear it. So you want the sound to be punctual, like this. And you can definitely hear that. You don't want it to be almost inaudible, like this. If this is now on just the string without the center serving, you can't hear anything here. It's almost so quiet. Now that's almost inaudible, that's far too loose. Likewise, you don't want it super tight. Now if I try this on the end loop, which is a different size, you can hear the difference there. That's much tighter, and that's far too tight. So the first check there is the sound. You want it a nice click, a nice audible sound, but not too tight. Just like that. So that's the first test. Now the second test is the rotation of the knock. So when you place the knock on the string, you should be able to rotate the arrow around the string like this. You should be able to rotate the arrow without it grabbing and then turning the string. So it should be just loose enough that it's not trying to grab and turn the string. So when you do this, you locate it on the string and you move the arrow around and it shouldn't turn the string. So you can see this a bit more clearly in this video here. And as you do this, you can see that the knock is just loose enough so that it can turn. It's a nice clip, but it's not grabbing the string and dragging it along as it turns on the string. Now, the sideways wiggle is perhaps a little bit harder to see, and this is the amount of wiggle room left to right as you rotate the arrow like this on the string. It's the amount of wiggle room that is there, and basically you want a tiny bit of wiggle room just to ensure again that the knock isn't too tight. If the knock is super tight, like on this end here, on this end loop, there's absolutely no wiggle room. I can't wiggle the arrow at all. Whereas when it's correct, when the knock fit is correct, you can see there's a tiny little play and a tiny amount of wiggle that you can have on the center serving, and that's good. Now, number 4 is the vertical spacing of the knock. Now this is, as it sounds like, the amount of distance between the 2 knocking points. So when you place the arrow on the string, again, there should be just a tiny amount of wiggle room for the knock to move to make sure that you haven't made the knocking points too close and they're pinching the knock. If the knocking points are too close and you can put the knock on the string, but it's being squeezed, then this can, it will obviously change your tuning, but it can be dangerous because it can push the knock off the string during the draw. So this is something you really want to avoid. Now, Another telltale sign of this is when you're putting the arrow on the string, you can tell if the nocking points are too close together, because on the center serving, you would get a normal click. And then between the nocking points, even though the center serving here is the same material, if your nocking points are too close together, you would hear a dull thud. Rather than that nice click, it would be a lot more dull because it's being basically deadened by the nocking point squeezing that nock. So that's something to be aware of. If your nock fit is good on that part of the center serving, but then it's too tight and it's dead in the middle, that means you've got the nocking points too close together. So now finally, the age-old test of tapping the string to see if the arrow comes off. So if you locate the arrow on the string, if you tap the string about an inch from the nock, if you tap it too loose, like this, obviously it's not going to come off. If you give the string a sharp tap about an inch from the arrow should come off like this. So obviously you could see and hear there that the arrow comes off the string and then the nock fit is not too tight. If it's too tight, it would just stay on the string. Even if you hit it harder and harder, it would just stay grabbed to the string. Now, in order to get your nock fit correct, you obviously need the right size of center serving for the right number of string strands that you have and the nock combination that you have. And this obviously varies for lots of different people depending on the number of strands in your string and stuff like that. And it's really quite a time consuming and quite an annoying part of tuning your bow. So what I've done is previously I made a chart and I tested, can't remember how many, hundreds and hundreds of different nock fits. I made many different center servings on different string materials and numbers of strands. And this chart is linked below, so you can just look up and say, okay, I shoot Brownell Fast Flight Plus, this is my example. I shoot 20 strands, I shoot biter small nocks. What center serving do I need to get the right nock fit? And you can see this exactly. You can look up in the table and see the nock fit that you want. And you can also do other things, such as, okay, I've got 18 strands of BCY 8125G. I've got Eastern large groove nocks. What center serving do I need to buy in order to get a good nock fit? So this chart, these two charts for BCY and for Brownell, these are really great charts to look at and get your nock fit, because it will save you a ton of time. I know I've wasted a lot of time in the past messing around with nock fit, so that's why I made this. So please use those charts and drop a like below if you found those charts helpful, because A, I was hoping that they would help a lot of people, and B, it did take quite a lot of time, and no one likes doing center servings, and I had to do about, I think it was about 40 for those. So drop a like below for that, and definitely use those charts to get your correct nock fit and share it with your friends as well. Now, I want to go through a couple of common mistakes here. The first thing is not retuning once you have changed your nock fit. So make sure to retune your bow if you change your nock fit, whether that's different center serving, different number of strands, different nock that you're shooting. You need to retune because it will change your tuning. The second mistake, and this is quite a small mistake that you might not know about first of all, is comparing the diameter across different brands of serving material. So you might think that, okay, I shoot a 20 strand string and I've got Angel 0015 serving material. So if I get the BCY Halo 0014, that will be good. But the serving material is not the same between different brands in terms of the diameter. What you'll find is the diameter is actually, although they've stated it is the same, it varies for the same number. So for example, if you look at the nock chart, you'll see that sometimes the Angel serving, even though it's stated as thicker, so for example, the 0015 Angel can often give a smaller nock fit than the Halo 0014 because of the way it's made and braided and stuff like that. So don't compare the numbers across brands, only use them in the brands. So you can compare the Angel 0018 to the Angel 0015, but don't compare them across brands because it does vary quite a lot, and use the nock chart for that. Now, another mistake, and definitely do not do this, is trying to bend or squeeze together your nocks or file your nocks or whatever it is to make them fit the string. Never ever do this, because A, it can be very dangerous, and basically this can just cause the arrow to either come off the string too early, and maybe cause you to dry fire, or maybe it'll explode and then cause a dry fire. So you don't want to do this. You never want to file your nocks. You never want to bend them. You basically want to get the right nock fit and then keep the nocks as is. Besides, even if you could bend your nocks and they're not going to break and they're a bit tighter, you're not going to be able to bend every nock in your set the same way. So every arrow is going to go a different place, and that's just pointless really. So just don't do that, and make sure that you find the correct nock fit. I've done the hard work for you. Use the chart and then make sure the nock fit is correct. Don't bend them. Last but not least, I'll give you 2 tips to try and change your nock fit if you haven't got any options. So if you want to loosen your nock fit, you basically want to make the string a bit smaller, what you can do is you can take your center serving off, get some serving material, form it around the string and pull it hard. You know, tie a knot around the string, pull it hard, and basically move it up and down the string near the center serving to basically make the string tighter and into a really tight cable before you then serve onto it. And this can just compress the string a little bit more and give you a tiny bit of a tighter center serving, which might loosen your nock fit a little bit. Now obviously, if you want to tighten your nock fit, you want the string to be a tiny bit wider. So in this case, you can either try serving the center serving with a little bit less tension, but you don't obviously want it to unravel, so that's important. And then the other thing you can do is you can lay another piece of serving material or any other kind of string underneath your center serving and serve over that, so that you're basically increasing the thickness of the string just in the region of the center serving. The best way to do this is to kind of interthread this layer of string that you're serving over, put it inside your string, and then kind of compress it, like I said before, because if you just put it on the edge, what you'll find is as you serve, it kind of moves around and it's not consistent. So you want to try and put it in the core of the string and then serve over it. And this can help you make your nock fit a tiny bit tighter. So that's been an overview of nock fit and how you can adjust it and find the correct nock fit for you. I hope you found that useful. As I mentioned before, let me know in the comments below whether you shoot biter nocks or whether you shoot eastern nocks. As always, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can also find us on social media, and I'll put the links to those below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.